Welcome to the channel. Kind of stuff's so dumb. All right, welcome. As you can see behind me, the Cruiser is here. This is the last time you're gonna see this thing. I sold it. Alright, let's roll a quick montage of all my favorite Land Cruiser video into here as a memorial to the 1995 Land Cruiser named Betty Big Legs. I found I don't really like the Land Cruiser that much. It's a capable truck. It's just not something that gets me excited anymore. I pretty much built it. It's got everything I would do to it, and I think I'm good with it. I am kind of sad to see it go. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears of frustration, sadness about the way they built that thing. The two-piece oil pan was definitely the worst thing on the whole vehicle that I did, and the intake manifold was horrible as well. My hands are too fat to work on that thing. So my true passion is diesels. So if I found a diesel Cruiser, or let's say, use my customer's vehicle right there, a Defender or a Range Rover or a Land Rover Discovery with a diesel, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Right now I've got my truck still. I haven't done anything with that for a while. I'm kind of thinking about putting it on 37s and re-gearing it, but I tow with it, so that might not be practical. So it might not be till this fall till I decide to do something different. So the owner of this lives up in Montana now. He's coming to pick it up Friday. So should be a good truck for him. Hope he enjoys it. I've done a lot of things to it, and congratulations. Thanks for buying that, getting that out of my hair. You got a good deal on it. I didn't get quite a good deal on it as I had hoped, but that's the fun of selling vehicles. So, I'm going to go over a few things that I like about this truck and some things I really, really hated. Let's start with number one. While I think this is a immensely capable truck, there's a few things that really let it down for me, and let's go over some of those things that really really, really, really annoy me. Number one, the stock seats in these things suck. They sit too low. Like, they probably sit, or your butt probably sits right around here on this seat. This is from a Subaru WRX. Now, these seats sit about 4 to 5 inches higher. Well, the thing I hate about Toyotas is that it's like you're sitting in a car, like a race car, with your legs stretched out in front of you. And I have bad knees, so that makes my sitting in one of these really uncomfortable, and I dislike it. The cheesy center console that comes factory in these things sucks. I put this Tuffy security console in there and bolted it into a few factory bolt holes and brackets, and it is great. It has drink holders now. There was no drink holders in it before. You can still reach the shift lever for the transfer case easily enough, and the transmission lever clears it just fine. Number two, let's start with number two while we're on the interior. I hate this whole center stack here. If they would just move this up here and then move the vents down here, I'd be totally happy. I cannot stand that I cannot hardly see my radio screen when it's down here, and finding the buttons for this antiquated 1980s push button crap is annoying. I know it's from the 90s, but I still want to say 80s because I just hate it so much. But other than that, I didn't really have too many issues with the interior, other than it looks like it was designed in the 80s, and it probably was. I know this is the updated version. Just a few quirks about Toyota stuff I hate. So other than that, like, the interior's been fine. Let's talk about some other mods that Toyota does. We'll start with number 3 underneath the hood here. Hang on a minute. Starting off by under the hood. That engine sucks, in my opinion. It's a straight 6. There's room for a V8 in here. Why didn't they put a diesel in the American versions? Because the 1HZ is a much better motor. It's a 4.2 turbo diesel. This engine sucks gas. Just sucks it. Yeah, I'm on 35s, but even on 33s, it still sucks gas. This engine in here, or design it, whatever you want to say. On the Japanese model, this thing would probably be a lot less cramped because it's right-hand drive. The steering shaft, the master brake cylinder, and all that crap would be over here, instead of jammed up over here where your intake manifold is. So if you want to change, let's say, the fuel filter, or let's point out the oil filter right there, good luck. You can't even see the fuel filter here. It is impossible to get to that with a gigantic ape hand that I have, okay? This whole intake manifold area sucks if you want to do anything in there. EGR system sucks to take apart. The alternator sucks to get to. It's all buried underneath the thermostat housing on that side. The air conditioning is super easy to get to, but how often do you change out a pump compared to an alternator? Probably once in a lifetime, probably 3 times in the life of the vehicle here. Or if you buy a crappy alternator, you get to do it like 10 times like I did. Because the previous owner was a hack and had spliced together a bunch of wires, and it had to the sensors and had crap just screwed up on this thing, so it wasn't running very well. And right after I got it, the pesky heater hose fell apart. I mean, I literally bought it, drove into my driveway, and that thing freaking blew. So, new owner, you're welcome, I fixed that. Now, if rattling drives you insane, this is the vehicle that will make you go freaking nuts. I've never had so much Tourette's in my life. Let's talk about number 5. This is also related to the exhaust. Everything on the exhaust system was rattling, and I think I've finally fixed it all. It hasn't rattled in a long time. I had to completely redo all this stuff. The cats were rattling, the heat shields on the cats were rattling, the heat shields on the exhaust manifold were rattling, and my gosh, it was like I fixed one thing and then like a day later something else would start rattling. That's finally solved. Okay, if you can see down here, this is the Y pipes that come together off the two exhaust manifolds, number cylinders 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and then there's a collector. There is enough room, if they would have designed this a little better, to just keep the exhaust on this side of the frickin' frame. Instead, they decided to route it over the frame and go along the outside of the frame rail, which like wouldn't be bad. But then they decided, oh, you know what? Let's just flip that around and move it to the other side of the frame because, you know, we're bored. Maybe there's not a lot of room under here with the drive shaft, but I think you could sneak that by there. Yes, you could. And you can sneak it past the transfer case. But you'll see right here, they decided to go ahead and just run that out that way along here. And then they're like, well, crap, you know what? We've got a whoop-de-doo in the frame here. We didn't want to build that straight. So, you know, let's just pop the exhaust back over there. And while you're doing that, let's lose all the clearance that we have underneath this frame and put an exhaust there so it can get hit and dented. Like that one. Smart move, Toyota. Okay, let's talk about option number, what am I on? Like 5 or, okay, let's say 6 now. We're on number 6. Sway bars. Stupid placement, Toyota. Completely stupid. Why'd you put it on the back side of the axle? There's plenty of room up front. Now what you do is put that drive shaft right in connection, possible connection with hitting the sway bar when you flex the suspension. I've heard that thing touch before while I'm driving up an obstacle. Stupid. I can't believe you did that. Just put it on the front like a normal person would, or don't have one at all. I know, we've got US spec models over here. This is probably my complaint. If you were to buy like a Japanese or Australian spec truck, they're not as stupid. They have better motors. Why can't we just get the same crap here? I don't like the sway bar on the back is not horrible, but it does this weird loop-de-loop underneath the axle right here. Like, again, every other vehicle puts the sway bar backwards and up into the frame on the backside here. Why did we go forward, Toyota? Thinking too hard, I think. Yeah. So, those are my complaints. And then, if you want to see the other thing, everyone acts like Toyota came up with this suspension system. This is just a freaking ripoff of a Land Rover suspension system. Exactly the same. They've been doing the coil spring suspension since the 70s. I'm sorry, Toyota, this was not innovative. You just copied everything that Land Rover has been doing for decades. Okay, the other problem with routing the exhaust the way they do is if you want to get a good set of sliders, they have to build all this crap just to get around it so it can mount to the frame. Excessively stupid. Let's go look at the other side real quick. All right, here is the other side. Huh, well, look at that. Connects right to the frame. Nothing weird. Let's talk about number, I guess this will be 7 now. Let's talk about the price of Land Cruiser parts and Toyota parts. Because everyone's like, oh, Land Rover, it's just so expensive. I could never buy the parts. Are you kidding me? You have never actually bought parts for a Land Rover, have you? They're dirt cheap. You can buy them straight from the UK. If you know your sources, you can get them pretty cheap and in a couple days. Land Cruiser parts, though, are a headache. They are probably twice as expensive as any Land Rover parts. You want to talk about paying a service guy to work on them? It's really no different. These things now are no more reliable than a Land Rover. It's what you put into it. The time you put working on it, the maintenance you do, you can have the same amount of reliability. I have never blown up a Land Rover differential. I've never blown up one of these. Okay, I lie. Under normal circumstances, let's say. I have blown up one Land Rover rear diff in my previous Range Rover that I had, but I put a 6.2 liter GM turbo diesel behind it, which made about twice the torque that the V8 that was originally in it made. So it's not really Land Rover's fault. So I'm going to give them both marks, and that'll probably piss a lot of people off, but I'm not talking about V8s. I'm talking about like the Land Rover diesels and the earlier pre-Disco 2 V8 engines. Even the new like LR3s and LR4s are pretty reliable when it comes to the engines. A lot of them are getting 200,000-300,000 miles out of those things. Come on, guys, with Toyotas. You know that most of the Tacomas blow their freaking head gaskets all the time. Same thing that a Land Rover does. It's just part of maintenance. And that's what the Land Rover guys say too. So Toyota Land Rover guys, shut your pie holes. I'm sick of the stupidity between brands. I like a lot of brands. Like I like Toyotas, I like the Land Rovers, I like Nissans, I love my Ram. You know, everything has its good and its bad, and you learn how to work around that and make it your vehicle. And I made this my vehicle. It's totally how I would have built it. Let's talk about a few other things. 1995 technology headlights suck. They're not any good. I put some LED bulbs in there, and that made them slightly better. Okay, let's talk about the mods I did to this thing, and if I would do them again. The bumper, the dual swing outs, hell no. A single swing out, okay. Dual, hell no. I hate it. Unfortunately, this thing gets such bad gas mileage, you have to carry 2 cans of fuel if you want to go anywhere remote, because you need to fill it up every 200 miles. So that's one mod I would never do again. Roof rack, it looks cool. I like it. It's a nice brand. It's a Rhino rack. I put all these lights up on there. I don't really use the lights, so they're kind of worthless. I use them to screw around with, you know. Let's talk about the light bar up here. You can barely see it. It blends in really well with the rack, which is what I like. But it just glares off the windshield. I even moved it back more, trying to keep it from glaring, and it is still glaring through the windshield. So it does put out a good amount of light, but the side lights are even better. I like that brand better. I got all these lights off of Amazon, just dinking around. I thought, I'll put some light bars on it. What the hell? Snorkel. I have one on my truck for a reason, because it's a diesel and it moved the air intake high, and I got stuck in a river one time and I got water in the intake before I had the snorkel on there. So I may or may not do that to my next vehicle. You'll see the next vehicle probably this spring. These stupid little LED lights, I wouldn't do them again. These ones, these are ARB knockoffs. These ones are not good. I have another pair that are really good, and they put out a lot of light. But for the money, they're not the best. I think I only paid $100 for those. These I would not do again, ever. Let's talk about the headlights, because the stock, I went back to the stock light bulbs in these things. These headlights suck with the stock bulbs. I finally got sick of it and got some LED bulbs off of Amazon, and very nice. Much, much better. Let's talk about these wheels. These wheels are stupidly heavy, and I would never get these again. I would get some spoked wheels. The tires, the Ridge Grapplers, holy crap, I love these tires. They're quiet. They grip phenomenally on every surface I have been on. Mud, slick rock and Moab, the street, they drive nice. They're just a nice set of tires. They work great in the snow. They work great in the rain. And obviously on dry pavement, they are also good. Love them. I'd get those tires again in a heartbeat. They wear really well too. Those rock sliders, they're a good brand. I like them. They bolted onto the frame, and that was annoying, so I welded them. I don't like bolting stuff on when I can just weld it. Welding seems stronger to me. Geez, what else? This winch. This is a let's see, Orkish. I don't know, Orkish. I guess we'll say 13,000-pound winch. Came with the synthetic line on it. I switched out. They had a wireless remote that they gave you with it. It was junk, so I bought some aftermarket remotes off of Amazon and put those up inside the control box. And man, I like this winch. It is a strong winch. It's gotten this thing unstuck numerous times when I've been a dork. And I was running this for a couple months without wiring up the lockers because I was going to try and use the factory wiring, which was dumb. Instead of the factory wiring, I used Trail Gear's wiring system with these switches, and I wasn't too pleased with their customer service. They sent me a couple switches that were bad and then gave me crap about it, and then they gave me the wrong pigtail for the rear locker, so I couldn't even hook it up. I had to cut off the factory wiring, splice it into their wiring to make it work. So they never did send me a new harness, so they kind of suck. I wasn't too happy with them. I quit buying stuff from them because of that. I realized that was probably during Corona. You know, maybe they didn't have all their poops in the groups. Yeah, I love that box still. That is probably my favorite addition. These seats are awesome from a Subaru WRX. I probably will never do another cargo barrier. I know they make things a little more safe, but it's annoying. If you want to just reach back there and grab something and pull it through there, good luck. It doesn't work. So often you have to open up these side windows to get in the back. I'm running an Old Man Emu lift spring on the front and the back, and then I use their Nitro Charger shocks. I got those from Cruiser Outfitters, and they have been superb. I love the shocks. The ride is 100 times better than the old man Emu shocks that were on it. They were just crusty and old. I also redid all the suspension with poly bushes. The stock bushings were shot. I mean, at 180 some odd thousand miles, they're worn out. So not surprising. So I basically rebuilt this vehicle from top to bottom, and it's a good rig. I think the new owner will be happy with it. So those are the things I like, the things I don't like, and the mods I like and don't like that I did to it. So right now I'm kind of trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the next vehicle. Is it going to be a Range Rover? Is it going to be something new? I've been looking at a diesel Gladiator, Jeep Gladiator. I've had Jeeps before, and I really like those. I'm not a big Wrangler fan. I would like to get a diesel Gladiator Rubicon package on it. Maybe even the Mojave package. So we've had our fun with that. Having two pickups might be weird, but who cares? I do what I want. Probably put 37s or 35s on the Gladiator. We'll see what happens with it. So that is why you've seen a couple for sale videos on my site. I'm clearing out some other stuff to make some more money for other toys. Anyway, that is my update on what I am messing with right now. If you know anybody that wants a BMW 535i from 1988 that's been all repainted, let me know. I want to get rid of this thing too, so I can put some more funding into my next vehicle purchase, so I can kind of pay cash for it, at least half. So it's a beautiful vehicle. Just redid the whole thing. All the body work's been done. No rust. Come buy it. It'll make you a happy person too. All right, that's it for me. Peace out. Okay, so that's the end of this video. That's the send off for the FZJ80. That's my second Land Cruiser, both 80 series. One was the first gen, and then the second generation of that same body style. Will I get another Land Cruiser? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking of a couple different vehicles, and haven't quite decided. I may wait a few years till I'm able to import some different ones that are legal now. That'll be legal in a couple of years, so we'll see what happens. I still got the truck, and this fall I think I may purchase another vehicle, have my truck paid off by then, and looking for something else to go play with too. Something a little bit smaller than the truck that'll fit up some tighter trails. So whether it's a Gladiator, whether it's a imported vehicle like a Defender or a Land Cruiser, we'll just see. I'm not real particular. I just want it to be fun and capable off-road. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I'm not trying to pick on Toyota owners or anybody else. I do really like a lot of different kinds of vehicles, and they each have their quirks, and that's kind of what makes them fun. So make sure to like and subscribe, and check out what's coming up on the channel. We got some fun other projects coming too. Thanks for watching.